Well, hello and a very warm welcome to Business Today TV. I am Chetan Bhutani, and today it's a big day for Maruti, especially because they have got the allotment for 800 acres of land for its third plant in Manesar, and Maruti is all geared up to expand its production facilities. And I'm joined with the chairman of Maruti Suzuki. Thank you so much, Bhargava, for speaking to
Nice to be here.
BTTV. Sir, tell us about the plant, not the conventional details, but I would want to know that would you be starting with electric vehicles in this plant, or would it be some other plans for EV in this plant, and how do you plan to take the production forward in this year?
See, the electric vehicles are being made in Gujarat.
Okay.
Suzuki has already announced the investment there. And therefore, we don't need to make it here. Okay. So this plant will not, at this point, be catering to any EV production.
Okay. Right. The big question here is that you've been losing out. Last time, you remember you mentioned about the butter is going out of the bread.
Yeah.
25% fall nearly in the hatchback segment we've seen.
Correct.
What are the plans for SUV, Bhargav-san? Because do you think you have little lag behind in the race for SUVs?
We will be announcing our SUV products and launching them in the course of this year.
Okay.
And I'm pretty confident that with the kind of technology and products that will be launched by us, we will rapidly gain a substantial part of the market. So it's not that we've lost out anything, but we were concentrating on other things till now. And Maruti's fundamental approach from the beginning has been to cater to the mass market.
Right.
And that is the lower end, what I've called the Bharat market.
Right.
And even though that market today is under a lot of pressure, but we still feel that we have a duty and an obligation to look after that market. Simultaneously, naturally, we have to go where another section of the customers want to go. So that also we have to do. So we'll be doing both.
But Bhargav-san, is there a plan that the entry-level segment would be less focused upon and the SUV segment will be more focused upon?
No, I don't think we'll lose focus at all. I think we should be focused on both. We have to find how to sustain the small entry-level segment.
Right.
Because increasing costs is going to make the customer's life very difficult.
Absolutely. Coming back quickly to the plant, I would want to know that what are the commissioning timelines that you mentioned? 2025 is the day we know.
The first unit will be commissioned in 25.
Okay.
And the second unit for which we are starting civil works even now, that can get commissioned probably by about the latter part of 26.
Okay.
Beyond that, we haven't made plans because it all depends on how the market behaves.
Right. Bhargav-san, now a lot of inflationary pressures have amounted to the auto companies, especially with semiconductor shortage, lockdowns in China and Russia-Ukraine war. What are the impact that you're foreseeing? And just like your competitors who are planning to make semiconductors in India, is there a plan that you're foreseeing into this?
The semiconductor problem is not a new one.
Yes.
It's been continuing for close to 2 years now. And it will continue this year, though I think this year it will be a little less severe than it has been in the past. Okay. And therefore, we have planned higher production this year. The inflation thing is a more worrying thing because it has suddenly emerged everywhere and in a pretty virulent kind of form. And to my understanding, this kind of inflation hits the lower end of the market more than it hits the upper end of the market. So again, it is this Bharat market. And the customers in this lower end of the spectrum who buy cars who are going to feel the pressure of inflation this time.
About inflation, what do you think the government should do? Should there be a move on interest rate hikes or reductions or any basis points reduction or some measures that probably you could suggest?
I don't think there is any easy answer to inflation. And it's a global phenomenon. It's not that we have done anything wrong to get into this inflationary situation. It's external factors which have brought about the inflation. All that I can say we can do is that all of us have to look, and it's not government, it's I think everybody, including industry, including anybody connected with any kind of economic activity, to see how they can cut costs, cut out some of the things which perhaps accepted as a part of doing business, but reduce cost so that the burden of inflation can be lessened on the customer.
Right.
I don't think it can go away, but I think we can try, and if everybody shares part of the pain of inflation, including industry, then I think the customer can be just a little bit better off.
Right. I'll come on to my last set of questions, and of course, the electric vehicle is the most crucial part right now. My question, Bhargava, is that by 2025, you will start producing EVs in India.
Yeah.
By that time, your competition would significantly acquire that market already, because there would be about 10 to 12 major models by
That is still a
one of the biggest competitions.
questionable statement. How substantial do you think the market will be acquired?
Okay, but don't you think it'll be late by 2025 launching new EVs, sir?
You know, I don't want to get into a controversial area,
Absolutely.
but today you're already seeing the problem. Electricity
Right.
has already become a problem.
Thermal energy.
We are using more and more coal to generate electricity. 75% of our energy used in the country is coal-fired. Electric vehicles are not particularly serving the objective of carbon neutrality or carbon reduction or anything like that. The customers have yet to see the actual benefits which they get from electric vehicles. That also takes a year or a couple of years. Abhi tak the number of electric cars in the country is minuscule. So people have yet to see how it works for them. Certainly, the Bharat car market will not be able to afford electric cars. So that leaves only a small chunk of what is the India market.
But Bhargav, would you be able to solve that problem? That the Bharat car segment, would you be able to?
I don't think
because ultimately the electric vehicle would have to be charged by electricity or battery swapping. Is there any solution that you have already said?
Whether it's battery swapping, the batteries will still have to be charged.
Absolutely.
So if you're using coal-fired electricity for charging batteries, what have you gained?
Right, but would you be giving a solution, alternative?
I don't have a solution.
No solution.
The solution is on how we generate power in this country.
Right.
And as long as we are generating power from coal-fired stations, this will continue. We have to increase, and we are increasing non-conventional energy sources, but still leaves the question of energy in days when the non-conventional power is not available. And it's not so easy because our demand is growing.
Right.
So the task of reducing the percentage of coal-fired energy becomes harder when the energy sector is growing.
Right.
If it was a stagnant thing, it would have been easier to reduce the coal-fired.
Right.
Today, that's not so easy for us in the growing market scenario.
Probably that's why there's a lot of focus on CNG, especially at your end. I would also like to ask you that that EVs are catching fire these days.
Yeah.
What is your message to the entrepreneurs, especially in the EV space, to hold back and do R&D in their own backyard rather than coming onto the roads? What needs to be corrected?
No,
here?
I don't think the entrepreneurs here can do much about it because this fires relate to the batteries.
Right.
The battery cell. The battery cells are all imported. So they have all that the entrepreneurs can do is to be more careful about where they source the battery cells from.
Okay.
And check the technology which these battery cells have and see whether there are battery cells which are likely to be safer than some of the other battery cells. There is a difference in technology.
Absolutely.
And there probably would be a difference in price of different battery cells. So the cheapest may not be the best.
Absolutely. Bhargav, last question. What's the outlook for the year going forward for the economy and also for the auto sector?
At the moment, it's inflation control which is the problem.
Right. And for the auto sector, what do you foresee?
I don't see just now because I have to see what the inflation is going to do to us.
Right. Well, that was Mr. R.C. Bhargav. Candid as always, talking about how inflation has really put up pressures on the economy, and really with the new plant going forward, Maruti would definitely expand its horizons in the way forward.
वीडियो पसंद आया तो हमें लाइक, कमेंट, शेयर और सब्सक्राइब जरूर करें।